Okay, gw2 again. I came upon, this is the first stage of my favorite event chain in the game, and the battle was going on, and it was just too chaotic for me once again to start my video while the battle was going on because I just had to constantly keep moving. Which, as I always mention in these videos, movement is absolutely essential and paramount in this game. So it just ended, and we're going to go into the next stage. So I'm going to eventually catch this little battle here on another video. So I can eventually show this whole event chain, which I absolutely love. It's the thing I love about Guild Wars 2. It's not the instanced content like dungeons and things. It's the open world PvE that is so fun to me in this game, with the large scale events and lots of players, and at various times of the day you'll have more or less players. You know, it's not always mobbed with players, but there's always other people around. This is my Guardian, and I play support. I did not know if I would like this game when I first began playing, because it is not a hard Trinity game. You don't have healers and tanks and DPS damage dealers. You can pretty much do all that on one character, but some characters are much more adept at doing certain roles than others. The Guardian can do DPS. It's very good for support, which is what I like and what I do. I share my boons, my buffs, so to speak, the little advantages that my character gets by being a Guardian. I can share them with others for support, and also have really good health regeneration, which I can share with others. So he doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but it does decent damage, and I just like the way it plays, and I love support. This is the staff. It's not the strongest weapon by any means, but it's very useful to me for a couple of reasons. I love this AoE cone that it has. My disappointment with it isn't so much that it doesn't do tremendous damage, because I love the AoE that it has, and it matches well with everything else I do with my Guardian. It's that it's very close range, except for one attack, and it is one of the ranged weapons, so to speak. But it's not really a hindrance. I just wish it were longer range. The scepter is another weapon, which is the longest range weapon, but I just don't like it. I don't think there's anything bad about it necessarily, but it doesn't work well for me. I get so much more out of the staff, especially when it comes to events like the ones coming up, where you're farming, so to speak, where you get lots of enemies, and you want to hit as many as you can and get loot from hitting them, and make a lot of in-game money with it. And it's just very useful to be able to hit all these enemies at once. And my other weapon is the Great Sword, which I absolutely love on the Guardian, and there it is. Ranger, I love Great Sword, and Guardian, I love Great Sword. I got a nice katana skin for my Great Swords. You can see I have health there. I just took a hit there. Most damage you can avoid in this game, and you really should. That's why you say I really want to take a lot of damage in this game. I just took a hit there, because not all damage is avoidable. There are just instant hits in the game. But you can see I regen my health pretty quick, so it's if you like that kind of gameplay, if you like that kind of character, a Guardian can be made that way, can be built that way. The only thing I kind of don't like with the Guardian, it moves a little slow, but I find that it seems to be strong enough and works for me well enough that it doesn't bother me. Only once in a while I got a speed buff from someone else. In this instance, they gave me a buff. Other classes, like a Mesmer, can share buffs if they want. But the heals, every class gets a self-heal. You get a few to choose from. The Guardian, they're all on a long cooldown, and I just don't like long cooldowns in general, no matter what it is. But it has not proven to be a problem by any means. It's just something I was like, man, I wish I had a lower cooldown time heal, which would make me happy. But like I said, it's never been a problem. It's purely my own taste. So what's happening here, when you see these red circles in this game, it's a point you have to capture. When we get all the enemies out of it and we're inside, it'll turn blue, and there's a time limit. If you can withstand, if you can stay here, if you can hold it out and beat off the waves of enemies, eventually you will win this point. It's still red. We still got enemies in here. It will eventually turn blue, and it'll turn red again once an enemy enters us. Now it's blue. So after a certain amount of time, if no enemies come in here, we win, so to speak. We capture the point, and eventually that will happen. Got waves and waves of enemies coming here. Not too many here. The other stages of this feature far more enemies. And after this is done, I'll probably cut a little of the video out because I know there's going to be a couple minutes until the next phase of this begins. So I'll probably cut out the video and just go right to the beginning of the next stage. We've almost got this. It's getting close. I don't know how many more enemies they want to send, but we're really close to it now. I can see the bar up on the right of my screen showing us that there it is. There it is. So we held out long enough, and now we captured the camp. So I'm going to cut the next little bit out waiting.
This is it. Now we have a real foothold in Centaur territory.
Okay, so now they're going to try to retake the camp. And we've got to defend against it. So I'm just going to kite them here with my staff. You can see it just hits everything in front of me. So it's very good. It's actually really neat for kiting.
Eat my dust!
But despite its low damage, I find it to be a really useful weapon. So they're going to come to both sides of this camp. There'll be a few waves of these guys, these centaurs. And up ahead, up that road up there, the curves off to the left, that's a really big camp, and that's where I've made other videos up there. That's where we're going next. We're going to have to take over all of them. So hopefully we got a few people to do it. You do it alone, it's like, my God, it's kind of miserable. It's super slow. There's so many enemies. So many enemies. Up here they come. For a rather slow-moving class, I really like this one. I tend to have something against classes that don't have a easily accessible speed buff. Like a lot of classes have a utility they can equip that'll give them a 25% speed increase. The Guardian doesn't have that. There is a utility you can use to give it a temporary speed increase. It's okay, but I don't like to sacrifice the utility slot for it, and I find that it's okay even though it's kind of slow-moving class for me. Whereas in the Revenant, it really bothers me, but everything about the Revenant bothers me. You know, it's a class I want to love, liking the weapons and the theme, and feeling it just doesn't work. So everything just seems to add up to me to make it a not fun class. Okay, here comes another. Where's this guy going? Is he just running away? I don't know. Some kids just go off and do their own thing, which is fine. So let's go to the other side. Hope that's going to sign that we got to do this alone, because it'll be too long of a video. The next part of this. Are they coming? Maybe someone else grabbed them out on the road. Let me go see. I'll go help if someone's got them out there. Don't think so. Here they come. Oh, oops, I was a little too slow on that there. You'll notice I'm always trying to evade stuff. I think I mentioned in another video, weapons in this game take sigils. There are components you can add to weapons, and one I always love to use is sigil of stamina, which fills up your endurance every time you kill an enemy. Which, in a game like this, where you've got to move, you've got to avoid everything, I find it really useful. I know some people hate it. They think, oh, get damage, sigils, but no, I find more utility in other things. So, okay, I'm going to cut this off here because we're getting ready to go to the next stage.